And maybe in that light, I just want to also pose this question. Somebody writes to us here that he says most of the theses that Büsow presents, I think, make sense. But what does a single person do with this kind of knowledge? For example, in trying to prevent a World War III, and then there are no elections nearing here, and if you're honest, your party, even in the near future, will only range in the 0.5%. How do we deal with that situation if election results usually are so little?
Well, I'm not worried that this will remain in such a way, because we are in such a absolutely dramatic moment in history that, for example, we would have had World War III already in all likelihood if my husband would not have warned of exactly that danger end of October, which at that time caused a lot of consternation and people were quite upset about it. But in the meantime, a lot of people in influential positions have expressed the same concern. Among them, a lot of the Israeli opposition, among them some of the leading American military men, both in duty as well as retired, who have expressed a concern and have made clear that this must not be the road to go. The whole situation is really so tense that I think dramatic changes can happen. And I think that the question in a period like that, when an old order is disintegrating, it's not so much that you have to be the numbers at least not in the beginning, but much more important is, do you express those ideas which address themselves to the fundamental inherent mistake of that present order, and do you have a vision where to go next? And I feel not exactly but I feel remembered of Nikolaus of Kues. Nikolaus of Kues, who wrote the Doctor Ignorantia in the 30s of the 15th century, and he wrote consciously, I'm writing things which no other human being has ever thought before. And I know I'm writing for a new epoch of history. And in the same way, I think that what the movement which I'm a part of is representing is the kind of force whose ideas will shape the future of civilization. And then you can have sudden jumps and sudden developments. And I think that then, if the Büsow remains at low percentage and we will not be successful, I don't think we have much to worry about, because we may not be long for this world. I'm an optimist. I plan to do the opposite. And in that case, I believe that what we have to say, especially in terms of returning Germany to a science driver country, after all, Germany used to be the country of poets, thinkers, and inventors. And if you look at the great discoveries, which make modern knowledge, how many of these have come from Germany? I don't want to become, overly proud or, arrogant. But given the fact that the Germans have become so little, let me be a little bit proud. Think of all the many thinkers in science, in music, in poetry. Almost every faculty existing in universities today has been invented by a German. I'm exaggerating a little bit because I'm coming from Trier, where people always like to say things in a very dramatic way. But it's true, we have this incredibly proud tradition. And it is eminently accessible for everybody who wants to open a book or go to the library or go into a laboratory. These things are accessible. Many of these things have been written in German. To go back to Schiller, you don't have to translate it, you can read it in the original. If you want to read Kepler, almost 1/3 of Leibniz is in German, because he also wrote in French and Latin in one sentence, but makes it a little bit more difficult to read. But many of these things are easily accessible. And I think we are in front of such an absolutely dramatic change of the era, that if mankind makes it, and that's a matter of this year, I'm convinced of it, then you will have a sudden recognition that all the paradigms associated with globalization and monetarism, counterculture, that all of this was crap and a waste of time, and that there will be an incredible thirst for true knowledge. And I think that we can have a renaissance. I'm absolutely certain that we can make a renaissance in the same way like we made the Italian Renaissance after the Dark Age of the 14th century, because we have studied how to do it. We know where are the scientific and cultural treasures to go to, how to revive them. And I think that even in Germany, I'm in politics because I believe that the German people have a tremendous potential to again play a role like in the spirit of Friedrich Schiller, of Beethoven, and similar minds, and help the advancement of mankind. And I think if we can present these ideas, especially to young people, I think they will reject all of this counterculture which has turned them into slaves. And I think we can have a good future also for Germany and for the Büso.